This is our next crazy project, which is to turn a hood into a TV, but in such a way that the outer hood looks completely ordinary, without even hinting at any modifications. But once it's turned on, it will burst into bright colors. Enjoy watching. We start with the mold that was originally left over from making the transparent hood. We thoroughly lubricate it with polyester resin and apply the first layer of fiberglass mat. Usually this technology uses gel coat, but it is not very transparent and has a dense black, gray or white color. In our case, using it isn't an option, since the top layer of the hood needs to let light through perfectly. In this regard, 2 layers of glass mat impregnated with transparent resin are simply an ideal option, since such material acts as a diffuser. So we address 2 issues at once. In the final step, we roll the surface with a roller that has metal needles to eliminate all the bubbles and air pockets. The next day, the resin has dried, and we have this semi-transparent shell that needs to be placed on a sturdy base. First, we take the second component of the mold, apply wax and rub it in well. This is done so that we can easily remove the part from the mold. The next step is to dilute the gel coat, the same one that we abandoned when making the upper part of the hood. It's pretty straightforward here. We need the top part to be transparent, but there are no such requirements for the bottom base. We also need to make this part significantly stiffer, which means we should add more layers of fiberglass mat, since the top part is made as thin as possible for good light transmission. But we compensate for that with an additional layer on the bottom part, which you can see on the screen. After a few days, when everything has dried well, we sand down the not-so-smooth fiberglass mat, with such a beautiful view from around the corner. Why even sand the inner surface that will be covered by the front part of the hood? Good question. The thing is, we will be sticking 44 meters of LED strip onto this surface. All those little needles and uneven spots make it really hard to do that. The next step is to trim off all the excess, first on the bottom part of the future hood and then on the transparent shell. Finally, we move on to the most interesting part, integrating the electronic components into the hood. First, we cover the entire area with metallic tape. It's cool, it sticks to almost any surface and holds really well. We'll stick the strip directly onto it. The tape also acts as a reflector. In our case, this will definitely be beneficial. The next step is to apply double-sided tape at a specific interval, in order to ultimately get the matrix that meets our requirements with the specified distance between the diodes. Here, a simple wooden strip really helped us out as it fits perfectly in the gap between the strips. And so step by step, strip by strip. And finally, a few hours to stick on the address tape. As you remember, the top part of the hood is clear and made of fiberglass, but this material doesn't have a perfect surface. Typically, there are small cavities, craters, and other imperfections left on the front side. That's exactly why a gel coat is applied to the base, which we decided to skip. We also can't prime the front side for obvious reasons, but we can definitely replace the opaque acrylic primer with clear acrylic lacquer. And that's exactly what we did. After the lacquer dried, we wrapped it up to apply the next layer. This is the base coat, exactly the same color as the rest of the car. Here we used a thin layer. It added color but still allows light to pass through as much as possible. Light from a 44-meter strip. While this layer is drying, we're fully testing our matrix. Everything is controlled from the phone, thanks to the board with the Wi-Fi module. All that's left is to put the sandwich together and test how it works. In the end, we threw the TV hood on the car for maximum effect. We waited for it to get a bit darker and then headed into the city. To be honest, I'm really happy with the result, as I originally came up with this project in my head and envisioned it exactly like this. Specifically, ideally, the hood should look completely ordinary, with no hint of humor. And after pressing a single button, a wow effect happens. That's exactly how it turned out. The only thing we can work on is to slightly blur the clear boundary where the fire appears. This is not difficult to do, but I am very interested to hear your opinion on whether this topic should be developed further. Since no matter how you look at it, this is still a prototype. I'm waiting for you in the comments. Thanks for watching and take care.